some of the achievements of IBB is not only in the in the political field, but really in the economic affairs of this country, especially what we are battling with today. I'm talking about the conundrum of corruption, which we call fuel subsidy. General Magida came out with a novel idea on how to treat and perhaps would have squarely put the issue of subsidy where it belongs. Meaning that a government program that will only fuel productivity and will also take care of the weak. Because take it or leave it, the system of governance we have in this country that we must live with is a system of government that will be private sector driven. So the novel idea IBB came up with, which I had some input to, is the issue of two-tier system of selling petroleum product. And since that time, I've never seen anything that recognizes the role of the productive sector of the economy and channel incentives to that sector without undermining the interests of also the populace.
One of the things that really concerns some of the people I've heard is the discussion around ethnicity and religion as it affects our polity. Identification is a true problem, especially in a complex situation like Nigeria.
Yeah.
So what I think we can possibly start doing, and doing in all urgency, is to appreciate the use of data management systems. If we can adopt proper data management systems and run a system where we are not naturally identified by our names or where we come from. This is 2022 and we're still filling forms and you were being asked where we're from. What's your local government? You go to primary schools, they're trying to tell children that you have to identify by states, further dividing them in their minds that they're different from the next kid that sits next to them. Kids in primary school are now asking if that uncle is a Muslim or a Christian, as opposed to whether his dad is friend or not. These proper data management systems will help us not just tackle the issue of identification, but also promote accountability, transparency, and efficiency that hopefully will give us good governance.
That is to say, when Nigeria sit in retrospect, examine our flaws and achievements of yesterday, it is certain that will be the beginning for us realizing who we are. If there is no national retreat, we will not understand who we were. And one of the major challenges is the fact that there are too many actors in one particular scene and at a particular time. What you see is dust and rowdiness and no result or direction for us to see. I'm confident this country will be different. I'm confident the schools we have had from him that we are celebrating today, I think there is so much from knowledge and wisdom that will drive us through. We are in Action Alliance, privileged to be here, but we know most of the legacies he left in office and from the tower of wisdom he occupies today, we are tapping from it, and we are sure that and many more that we have garnered will present in us the qualities required of Nigeria at this point in time. And finally, so that you wouldn't raise. In most cases, you used to hear countries like America giving Nigeria a certain period of time for the country to break. Let every intellectual open his brain and think deeper. All this they are telling you is that by your actions, either in power or outside power, the elites are always in your sayings and actions busy promoting causes of insurgency. But the resilience of the poor man, of him that is on the street, is actually what is keeping Nigeria. For example, the panelists as you are, how many of you, from whichever part of the country you are, pick telephone to call the other from the other side in discussing Nigeria's security, welfare, and well-being? You haven't, but you have accused leaders. And I'm sure you haven't. Most calls are from personal interest, not national interest, not Nigeria's unity, security. So if we have to keep Nigeria together, challenge leadership from the point of view of four things. When you are looking at Nigeria from home and from the international scene, Nigeria's security, economy, Nigeria's relevance, the word relevance and all it takes. And finally, Nigeria's participation within Committee of Nations regaining its own true state of power. So when we are pointing accusing fingers at some, we should also examine the other side before we pronounce.
Is democracy an end in itself, or is it a means to an end? Do you have a real democracy on an empty stomach? If you have democracy and people are so poor that they cannot feed, but you have maybe what you might call a military dictatorship, many of the countries of Asia were not built as democracies. Their economies were built by military dictators. But those dictators were visionary dictators. There's a difference between a visionary and benign dictatorship and a dictatorship such as we've had in Africa that has tended to concentrate power in the hands of the military. Now, let's come back to General Babangida in closing. He was a very visionary president. Whatever you might disagree on some things, but he was visionary. He used a lot of intellectuals. He ruled with ideas and, elevated people who had ideas. What is our politics today? In our politics today, if you speak about ideas, they will say you're blowing grammar. That bobo is just blowing grammar. So the quality of our democracy is going down, and we think we're practicing democracy. Look at the politicians. Yes, it is through the voter education process and through this matter of who are we as Nigerians. What is our worldview? What is our national philosophical foundation? We don't know who we are. We don't know where we have come from. We don't know where we are going. How can we come together in a democratic process if you have not addressed that basic question? And that comes back to the issue of leadership. Whoever has the responsibility today must be made to know that you must begin to lay this foundation and hand over the baton. We cannot wait forever until some Messiah shows up. It doesn't work that way.
I remember very well, and everybody here will remember, that starting with the time of President Babangida, he invited such eminent development economists and financial experts like Dr. Chuokongu, Dr. Khalid Kakalo, and later on under President Jonathan, we had the likes of Dr. Konjiwala, Dr. Kuwumi Adeshina. We even have our own here, Professor Kingsley Mogul. All of this came with brilliant ideas, came with tremendous models to make Nigeria work. Comrade Oshomole also referred to the Presidential Economic Council set up by the President of Nigeria today, made up of very prominent Nigerian eggheads. All of these models have failed to work. But meanwhile, these models, whether they are from China, Indonesia, or America, wherever name called, have worked in those countries. Why have they not worked in Nigeria? It's because with the structure we have can never allow, no matter how good the model is, to function, to create development, to expand the economy. It can never work. And going through constitutional review is another waste of energy. Look at our present constitution we have. To make an amendment of any part of that constitution, especially the critical issues that bother us, is like going through the eye of the needle, the biblical camel passing through the eye of the needle. Here we've reached, the one that is on hand is to give local government autonomy. The National Assembly has passed it. We hear today that only 14 state assemblies have assented to it. Where will the other 10 come from? Obviously, that smaller aspect, local government autonomy, will not work. So what we say is when we have the privilege, whether as this ruling party or an alliance party, we are bringing to the table an immediate convocation of a national conference without no-go areas to discuss and agree by consensus how Nigeria will relate with one another. That's the only way we can regain our citizenship and our sense of belonging.